play a game.
Hello. The bot has no stage
Jockey
fright.
Transport says good, whatever the time is in your zone, from London.
The bot lives. This is going to be stupid, but that's okay. We specialize in stupid. All right, let's start with a 0 to 30. Let's see what happens. Hello to Mark B, Tam Walker, Maverick, Lord Vectron the Fourth, Chocky Transport, Florian, and that looks like about it, although there's more people watching, so enjoy, folks. Welcome to a stream of stupid. It'll be stupid. Yep. Can't turn on the rail driver cam, unfortunately, because I moved my PC from over there to over there. Oh, by the way, my camera now works.
Benjamin's brain in
That's
a jar
left.
says
That's right.
greetings and salutations.
Benjamin's brain in a jar as well.
Chocky Transport says, oh, quick play, that sounds like a good idea.
So we ended up in a sandbox scenario.
Says, yes, the bot back smiling face.
Right.
Richie Rail says, don't forget
I think we need a real one. Not a sandbox scenario.
Says, sorry, I'm getting
hello, Richie Rail.
Kind of late poll, but how you
hello,
doing?
Benjamin. Hello, Bad Guy 89. Yes, the bots are back. I am doing okay. I have some okay juice.
Lord
It's a lovely,
says,
slightly mature 18-year-old Irish. It's very good. Quick play, 0 to 30. Let's not get a sandbox this time. Bot volume is very low, is it? I can crank it a little. Try that. Desiro City Showers. I've got another scenario. I prefer to not get scenarios, but we'll play this. It'll be fine.
Jockey Transport says, let's do something real.
Good morning, driver. Welcome to Gillingham Depot. Prepare this service ahead of today's running. Yep. Which one? Which one? That one? That one? This one.
Florian Scheuermann says, we are the Borg. Resistance is futile.
You are the Borg, that's for sure.
Chocky Transport says, oh yes, southeastern high speed.
Oh, we've got to do things. I have to press it and hold it? No. There we go. Master key.
Rishi Rail says this is quite a good idea actually.
Set the mode change over to... Oh, funnily enough, someone actually posted a thing today saying, my power button never stops flashing. Gunk. Oh, look, GSMR's working as well. 998 lead driver. Check your head code.
Bagguy89 says it's funny that you got the same route I did when I quit play. The only difference is you got a different scenario face with tears of joy.
There we go. And the rail driver is actually working, but let's put it on night lights. Rail driver will put it back, of course. Turn off that DRA thing. We don't need that.
Harken Person says hello from Sweden.
Hello, Hakan Parson from Sweden. Bad Guy says it's funny you got the same
Maverick
one.
says, hey Richie.
Let's get out of here. Do I need to set any points though? Better check that. Yeah, there's one there underneath the map. Right, there we go. The other ones look okay to me.
Maverick says, what is the spot called?
This is a combination of two bots. One is called Streamer Bot, and the other one is called Speaker Bot, funnily enough.
Best News says hello.
Hello, Best News. How are you?
Florian Scheuermann says, SEHS is a great route. A lot of fun, a lot of variation.
It is a great
Chocky
route.
Transport says when I tried quick play I got the DBBR 114, which must be my least favorite loco in this game.
That's what happens. You get your least favorite. That's what quick play does.
Rishi Rail says hey at Maverick.
I can almost guarantee you we'll end up with the 187 at some point today. High speed rail, folks. Oh, we haven't got lights on in there, have we? Better turn the lights
Best News says, what train is this?
on. How do we turn the lights on? It's got to be a way. Maybe it's a conductor function. We haven't turned on any safety systems either. Probably shouldn't do that when I'm standing up though, should I? Is that no? Oh, I just isolated it. There must be another switch. Door key, TRA.
Chalky Transport says it didn't say my thing. This must be one of the shortest scenario ever. Lord Vectron 4 says least favorite or hidden gem Chalky.
Oh yeah, lights will be on here, won't they? Train config. Holding mode, slow speed, uncoupled, confirmed config. What about... No. Lights? Doors? No? There's got to be a way to do it. I'm going to crash in a second. I'd better come out of here and watch. So we're almost in Gillingham. And then I'll figure the lights out. We'll get it sorted. It'll be fine. Game's very quiet, isn't it? Or just for me
Chalky
anyway.
Transport says least favorite. I was making a video out of it, but it went so bad I scrapped it.
And which train is this one? It is nothing but the 700.
Chalky Transport says the lights are behind you to your left on the back wall.
Thank you. I'll do that as soon as I stop.
Lord Vectron 4 says this train has a fire mode. Florian Scheuermann says an male-sounding bot has figured out how to pronounce my name. Or was it the female one that butchered it?
Good question. Better whack that DRA on. Let's go and do some... Whoops, hang on. Before we do that, let's get the doors open. All right, now let's get the lights. There we are. Saloon lighting. There we go. All right. Now we should have lights on out the back.
Nightbot says please smash the like button to promote the stream.
Obey the Nightbot. Yes, we have lights on now. Good stuff. Set the power handle to full service. Does that mean we're changing ends or something silly? Probably. Set the exterior lights to tail. Set the windscreen wipers off. Reverse it in neutral, wherever that was. There it is. Apparently we're going up the other end, I think. Yep, that was worth turning on all those safety systems. Do I leave DRA on?
Driver, you have reset the
Chalky Transport says you have to shut it down now, face with tears of joy.
Yep. Start it up, shut it down, start it. Whoop, hang on. No, that door won't shut by itself, will it? I have to shut that one. I'm of two minds whether to leave the DRA on up at this end. I'm not sure. The sun's coming up. We have a reflective experience of the train. Very good. Head to the other end and put the train back in the same siding you got it from. That'd be right.
Chalky Transport says close cab door.
It is closed, young fella. He's up there. Right. Door. 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 There it is. I'll probably have to turn on the safety systems again, won't I?
Lexic Dark says have you tried turning it off and on again? Ha.
Lexic Dark. Hello.
Math Eric says Chad he's going to get the 187 today, isn't he? Face with tears of joy.
It could happen. It could happen. Okay. Place some power to get moving. Now this is where I find out whether the DRA being on at the other end is going to bug me or not. We'll find out. And I think it is. So we'll do
Chalky
this.
Transport says yes, or the ice train he doesn't like.
Oh, the
Chalky
IC3M.
Transport says or the one.
Come on. We can do power again, don't we? Hang on. DC. Hang on. Do this properly. Right. DC. Wait for it to stop. On. Wait for it to stop. Right. Power. 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 Full power. No power. No power. What didn't I do at the other end? I did put it in full service and not emergency or something stupid, didn't I? Lights. We have got power, I think. We're not even trying. We're interlocked. Why are we interlocked? Oh, why? You know why? Nothing to see here. Move along.
Chalky Transport says cab door.
Maverick says
the other
skill
doors.
issue.
Yes, that's about it. Skill issue. Is the game loud enough for you lot? Looks pretty quiet to me. Might just be because it's such a quiet train, I guess. That's a bit better.
Lexic Dark says it's the handbrake grommet. Chalky Transport says the doors, always the answer, because it did not actually tell you to open them.
Ralphan! Using his puny little flash to take his
Chalky
pictures.
Transport says it is loud enough here just because it's a quiet e.m.u.
It's an
Odin
emu!
Moore says,
Hello,
how's it
Odin Moore.
going?
How are you? How is everybody today, anyway? Should cover that. It's a good thing. It's important. Feel the speed.
Matt Eric says I love the 700. Still annoyed that we never got the Flu 12 car version.
Chalky Transport says cat.
Well said, Chalky. Be careful, you might summon her. Is Cat here? That's a question. There's a way to find out. Nah, because it didn't highlight her name.
Maverick says doing well.
Train simulator driver says is at Cat here?
Chalky Transport says I am good thanks, how are you?
I am pretty good. I hope everybody's got their liquid discussion fuel. Well, double yellow.
Odin Moore says it's all good and the is actually out for once. Chalky Transport says I meant the cat that was sitting by the depot. Florian Ski Worman says all well here, smiling face.
Excellent.
Odin Moore says sun asterisk.
The sun's coming up. Bye-bye, Jebby.
Lexic Dark says can we do max headroom and say, I am GRGRGRGR great.
Chalky
Clearly not.
Transport says the red signal is approach control.
Yeah, but you have to be nice, Chucky.
Maverick says chat, coffee or tea.
Water.
Chalky Transport says T.
Just shut the car alarm off for a moment. Because weirdly, I'm not speeding. Strange for me.
Florian
Trees in world
Scheuerman
again.
says it was the female bot. Still butchers it.
They are the
Florian
default
Scheuerman
Windows
says
voices.
coffee.
I could say tea, but it's all gone. I made that during work. Several hours ago.
Badger89 says coffee.
Did it ever say your giant comment, Benjamin? I don't remember. So you asked, does coffee and a bowl of crunchy nut cornflakes count with a bonus raisin and biscuit Yorkie bar on the side? Most people are going for coffee. Couple for tea. Should I do a poll to see who wants coffee and who wants tea? Chalky will get it for us all. And of course, we get down here to Raynham and we'll just have to turn around and go back the other way now, won't we? Or are we just going here?
Chalky Transport says
just
there is a
going here.
mod that gives you the 700/1 flu on the Brighton main line, obviously if you are on PC.
Yes, there are many mods.
Odin Moore says T.
See, I usually start the day with a nice strong espresso made in my
Chocky
little
Transport
Bialetti.
says to
Who
be
don't
honest
sponsor
I
me?
drink neither.
And the rest of the day I have tea, because if I don't, I'll probably have a heart attack.
Math Eric says Chalky I have the mod, but the people on console can't use it. Confused face.
This is very true that, unfortunately, the console folk cannot use mods. They do miss out
Chalky
on a bit.
Transport says yeah, disappointed face.
Here we come to the end of our first service. We'll just pull up next to the RLU sign. About there. And we'll shut this one down, since that's what it wants. We better wait for it to tell us what to do or it'll get confused and it won't finish. Come on then. Come on.
Chalky Transport says I have 108 mods installed and the computer runs those without issue, but it really does not like the 378 and just crashes halfway through driving it.
Didn't tell me to take the muster key out, did it? No, it just told me to leave the train. And of course we haven't opened the doors, but you know, we can. Not that one.
Chocky
That
Transport
one.
says that is a lot of mods. Nothing I have installed should interfere
Thanks for your
with
help.
it.
Let's see who did. Run away! Run away! How far can we get before it finishes?
Says what does the RLU8 stand for?
It's the length of the train.
Nightbot
8
says
cars.
please smash the like button to promote the stream.
I should make the
Thanks.
bot ignore Nightbot, shouldn't I? Alrighty, let us do another quick 30. Bring on the ICE 3M. TSW2 version of it, preferably. It's the one
Florian
that
Scheuermann
loves me.
says reduced length unit.
Maverick says at Chocky Transport holy moly. 108.
Here we go. What will we get? What will we get? We might be lucky enough to get that thing, the 218. No idea how to drive it, but that's fine.
Chocky Transport says watch him get the 1. 1. 1.
Oh, I could end up with the
Florian
one.
Ski Worman says
Oh,
and
look
fluid
close.
full length unit.
The OBB 1116. We've got another EMU. Fair enough.
Lexic Dark says I met her in a diner down in Old Niho, where you drink fizzy stuff and, for copyright reasons, it sounds just like Coca-Cola. C-O-L-A, cola winking smiley.
Go off, electric brake. Go off and stay off. Right, now you're synced. Good. Now we will have... Is there AFB down under there
Chalky
somewhere?
Transport
Doesn't
says I
feel
thought
like
that was it then.
Yeah, signal lights,
Chocky
headlights.
Transport says very dark.
Chalky Transport says whoa, what are these noises?
That mode C's fine. Release, yes. And where do I turn on safety systems in this one? Do I even know what they are? Is this one of the ones you have to go in here to turn on safety
Florian Ski
systems?
Worman says Storang.
Oh, it is. It's one of those ones that's got a space somewhere for them. There they are. Right. LZB, BZB. Zifa. Okay. We shall sit in the chair. We don't even know what kind of service we've got yet. Okay, lights, marker lights, high beams.
Chocky Transport says what are you pulling, and is this the train that sounds like an orchestra?
Now, how do we turn on AFB in this thing? Do. Function. Zug. AFB. So is this where we turn it on? Somewhere in here. Spoozos? No? We're running OBB. I don't think any of these do anything. Oh, that one did. How does one turn on AFB? Maybe it just works. We want to leave it in OBB mode. We'll just leave it. It'll work, honest. What are we pulling? We're in a yard. We're pulling another one. And that's it. Okay, it's a light engine. Very good.
Lord Vectron 4 says might already be on. Use the lever.
Yeah, it may be.
Florian Ski Werman says I think this has a switch under the desk like the 146/185.
Yeah, AFB is definitely not on at the moment, so let's just...
Maverick says Control plus R.
No, we want to do it the right way. I think you're right that there's a switch under the desk. Just have to find it. We rolling backwards? We are, aren't we? Shit. Whee! Bad train. Oh well. We'll do it the hard way. AFB on. Go! Although it's still not actually showing me what my AFB speed is. Interesting.
Chocky Transport says you are going backwards.
Oh, believe it or not, I noticed I was going backwards. Alright, let's go. But no, you just want to go back. You just want to go slowly.
Lexic Dark says the synthesis voice isn't as much fun as I was hoping. It isn't very lyrical. Can you even reverse SPAD?
Yes, you can reverse SPAD.
Chalky Transport says what I do is use the keybind and look for a switch moving.
Come on. Come on. Power. More power. You're not even trying, train. You're not even trying. And brakes aren't releasing. I didn't do an emergency brake, did I? You gonna power up this time? When all else fails, reboot it.
Florian Ski Werman says reverse SPAD is possible. Been there, done that, face with peaking eye.
Maf Eric says this is by far the second best Austrian route.
Come on.
Chocky Transport says you did break 3.
Here we go. It's powering. Thought it was going to move, but it's powering.
Chalky Transport says how many Austrian routes are there?
I think I broke it. The brakes have come back on
Dark
again.
says I was hoping for one, not asking if.
Now I've got brakes on and I'm powering. What is going on, train? I think I broke it when I rolled backwards.
Lord Vectron 4 says AFBISN, T set and it will hold the brakes.
When all else fails, get a Thomas loading screen. Right. Let's get some brakes on for a start. Yeah, there's a
Lord Vectron 4 says typo, need the AFB speed to be set otherwise it will hold the brakes.
Right. Brakes off. Let's go. Still holding the brakes. There it goes. Yay! Now we have headlights on.
Chalky Transport says the horn sounds like the 4024.
I need to turn that down a little bit too, because this one's much louder.
At least 2, I think.
Let's get rid of those lights. We head out here in monitoring. It reckons we're safe to release. I don't know if I believe it.
Lord Vectron 4 says, what the hell noise is this train sound?
It's a good noise. It's very quiet now, so I'll turn it back up a little bit. It was loud before. Let's get a window open.
Chalky Transport says I was getting invisible stock the other day, so a rake of teas just went along.
Joep, hello to you.
Chalky Transport says you do have wagons. They are small.
Maverick says Austrian routes, S-Bahn Vorarlberg,
You're right.
Salzburg, Rosenheim, Semmeringbahn, and Mittenwaldbahn.
And we're going on a 25-kilometre cruise. That explains why it was so hard to make it move.
That's the dulcet tones of Siemens switch mode power supply. They could have made it nice tunes.
They do make nice tunes.
Nightbot says, enjoying the stream. Consider supporting the channel by joining https://www.youtube.com/train-simulator-driver/join.
Nightbot says want to keep chatting outside of streams.
I wasn't sure if I needed to acknowledge that, so I did.
https://discord.gg/discord.gg/5.
I really do need to teach Speakerbot to ignore Nightbot. I think, was I in Richie's stream the other day when he actually banned Nightbot? Or was it Hentus? No, I think it was Hentus. Hentus had Nightbot and he timed him
I
out.
don't know what they are, I just saw the labels on them. Nightbot says please smash the like button to promote the stream. Thanks.
You're being very noisy,
Chalky
Nightbot.
Transport says I love the Vectron. Chalky Transport says somehow I am at 590 subscribers now, thanks to anyone here who has.
That's good, Chucky. Shouldn't really do that in a PZB machine, should I?
Badger89 says, oh yes, we
Was
all
that
love
safer?
slashing train simulator driver with joy face with tears of joy.
I think I just got whacked by Sifa, but it didn't display.
Schweppes Niter 0S says went puffing Billy, hoping to see you there, but alas they were just running the diesel today.
Today? They had steam today. I'm on Friday.
Rishi Rail says Nightbot doesn't like me. Chalky Transport says that doesn't sound good.
I'm curious. Just stop for a tick, because I thought I turned Sifa on, so why is the light on?
Lexic Dark
And why
says
did it stop
// should not be done on your host.
Chalky Transport says maybe you should start a different service.
How did Sifa stop me when Sifa wasn't on? Interesting. Alright, let's try that again. Because it wasn't PZB that stopped me then, it was Sifa.
Chalky Transport says you turned it on then restarted the service.
Uh-oh, slippage. Major slippage. Come on, you can lift it. It's not much of a gradient. Use your awesome Siemens pulling power. Off we go. Thank you, Chucky.
Lord Vectron 4 says this train sounds are whack lol.
That's telling you it's slipping. Basically, the inverters are bouncing up and down.
Chalky Transport says like the 4.6.5.
See? Carriages. VTG. Only one of the traction motors is slipping, the third one. The others are fine. I can see Rail Driver doing its thing with the brakes going on and off too. That's bound to confuse it. That's no moon. That's a space station. Well, don't dare stay out of the cab very
Chalky
long.
Transport says we need lights to see what you are pulling. Hopeful it ends in a yard of some description.
I'm pulling gondolas. Or whatever it is the OBB people would call them. Should be able to see here. I pop out of the train and go around this side. So you can just see them.
Lord Vectron 4 says isn't the first traction motor subs to be the one that slips?
It could be any of them that slip.
Badger89 says does anybody remember, I can't remember which edition of TSW it was, but on the console version I think it was the PlayStation version when they lost the sun and had to repatch it back face with tears of joy.
Yes, that did happen. That was TSW 3. TSW 3 lighting, I think.
Gondolas. You gone to Venice or something?
There you go.
Maverick says danger misappropriated Star Wars quote LMA.
Well, remember, May the 4th isn't very far away if you like Star Wars things. Yeah, I'm next at Puffing Billy on Friday, Schweppes Nitros.
Chalky Transport says they just look like the JNAs.
I'm running...
Badger89 says that had to be one of my
9:14,
favorite
21:36.
patch notes to read.
One trip to Menzies Creek and then one trip to Lakeside. What is this? We have a friend! Pulling tankers. And other stuff. Sounds like I've got an air leak, doesn't it? There it goes, it's stopped now.
480 Studios says
That was probably
good
just Matt
evening.
drying his hands in the toilet. Zifa. No, not the Swang Bremp song, bastard. Fine, be like that then.
Chalky Transport says oh tankers.
480 Studio, hello. Bad Guy says that had to one of his 4 favourite patch notes to read. So I think I should just keep preemptively pressing the button.
480 Studios
There we
says
go.
can
We'll be able to
just
see the
talk
carriages
about
up
the
here.
title? Schweppes Niter 0S says thoughts on the Steam simulation in detail valid.
Derail Valley's Steam simulation is as good as the Steam simulation in Train Sim World. In other words, it's kind of crap.
Maverick says imagine Paul has to drive the Expert 101 this evening.
480 Studio says I like it but a bit complicated.
480 wants to talk about the title of the stream. I forgot what it was. What did I set it to?
Chalky Transport says
Oh yeah,
new
nothing
info
but
for
quickies,
Cajon
relaxer
Pass.
stream. Oh, you wouldn't get a 32-minute
Chalky
for Cajon Pass, I
Transport
don't
says
think.
good morning folks. Today we wanted to share a selection of new images for the upcoming Santa Fe pack for Cajon Pass from the High Iron Simulation team. Raising hands.
Really? Have they?
Chalky Transport says good morning folks.
Let's have a
Today we
look.
wanted to share a selection of new images for the upcoming Santa Fe pack for Cajun Pass from the High Iron Simulation team.
Cajun Pass, yep,
Person
definitely.
raising both hands in celebration.
Where are you seeing that, Chucky? I am not seeing that anywhere.
Chalky Transport
Yeah, everybody
says
likes
enjoy
quickies,
the
Richie.
32 new images, with more information about the pack and the release coming soon.
I'd get you to post a link, but you probably can't.
480 Studio says Paul I don't think you can do that.
Richie Rail says who doesn't like quickies.
480 Studio says you should not asterisk. Chalky Transport says oops I sent that bit twice.
On the forums,
They
but
look
they're
nice
scary.
Rishi Rail says it's on the forums.
Richie Rail says just now.
Chalky Transport says on the TSC Discord, the one with the rainbow image with the man on it.
Nipet says please smash the like button to promote the stream, smiley face, thanks. Chalky
You forwarded
Transport
it to my
says I forwarded
Discord.
it to your
Let's have a look.
Discord.
We'll have a look between runs.
That guy 89 says so does anybody here know why Christmas trees are bad at knitting? Face with tears of joy.
Oh, okay. So it's only in
Rishi
Train
Rail
Sim
says
community.
New Santa
Okay.
FE screenshots. https://forums.dovetailgames.com/threads/santa-fe-gameplay-pack-new-images-from-his.91040/.
Ah, thank you, Richie.
Chalky Transport says something about needles.
We'll have a look at it between the runs.
Map Eric says I don't trust High Iron, their TS Classic stuff was mixed quality to say the least.
Yeah, it's a bit hit and miss, isn't it? The high iron stuff. Sometimes it's really good, and sometimes it's a bit
Chalky
meh.
Transport says what breed of dog can jump higher than buildings? Any dog. Buildings can't jump.
Oh dear, Chucky. That's bad guy's job, the shitty jokes.
480 Studio says the TTS saying the link LOL.
3
That guy
a.m.
89 says because they always drop their needles face with tears of joy.
Richie Rail says well I didn't expect it to say the link.
Well, it did.
Chalky Transport says yeah it stumbled through the whole link face with tears of joy.
We'll have a quick look at that when we finish this run. 'Cause I'm sure people would like to if they haven't gone and had a look for themselves.
Taurus Vectron point 1212 at Liam 17 I love man says hi.
The forums are a bit scary, so I understand if people don't want to go there. Oh wow, they've actually got wires. Wow.
480 Studio says this TTS is so funny.
That's why it's there. Taurus Vectron, hello. We've got two Vectron people now. We've got Lord Vectron and Taurus
Chalky
Vectron.
Transport says they look nice. I won't buy it because I just like UK stuff and the Vectron. but they do look nice.
I think high iron stuff has nearly always looked good, and generally in each pack there's usually several locomotives. This time there's 2 in the TSW one, but there's usually 3 or 4, and one of them's normally really good, and the other 2 are not. So we'll see. There's a car with a broken tail light there somewhere. Ah, Sifa, don't leave the cab. Bad news. Never leave the cab when running Sifa in PZB. It's a bad idea. Uh-oh. If we've got 2 Vectron people together, will they spontaneously combust? Here's a horrible concept for you. What would 2 Vectrons, if they got together, create? It's probably a 363.
Taurus Vectron .1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says, guys, my name maybe is Taurus Vectron, but my favorite locomotive is the German 101 Express locomotive.
Chalky Shorts says I subscribed on my second account.
Thank you, Jockey.
Chalky Transport says hello.
You're saying hello to yourself, Chucky Transport.
Vectron.1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says smiling face with open mouth and cold sweat face with tears of joy rolling on the floor laughing.
Seems fair.
Rushirail says a smaller, more powerful Vectron.
Uh-oh. Unreal doing unreal things.
Lord Vectron 4 says not 2 Vectrons mating would create an Australian route.
With kangaroos. One day it might happen. One day. You know, I just pressed
Chalky
the 8.
Transport says I live for electro
We got
stars.
stuck for a moment there. We ended up in a building. It's weird.
Taurus
FIFA.
Vectron.1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says WTF.
I just like the way it says Isle of Man instead of 17IM.
Taurus Vectron .1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says sweaty.
Maverick says this TTS is making me cry while laughing.
Good. That's what it's for.
Taurus Vectron.1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says at I live for 101.
Well, you never know what might come up in a quickie. Probably more likely to come up if I did
Chalky
a quick 60.
Transport says building sim world.
Yeah, if we did the 400 kilometre Nullarbor route, Lord Vectron, it'd be very easy. It's just straight and it's all sand.
Our Nullarbor route. You had it here coming in Train Sim World 6.
And you know what they'd say? Oh, it's so linear.
Lord Vectron 4 says 400 kilometers Null Arbor route. You had it here coming in Train Sim World 6.
FIFA.
Florian Scheuermann says and no save feature. Gotta play it in one go. Taurus Vectron .1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says Lord Vectron 4 yeah. Benjamin's brain in a jar says where was Granny when the lights went out?
In the basement, tied up, chained to the wall. I shouldn't do that. Someone will maintain a campaign against me. Yeah, I've lost his sign. This little bloke has a sign that says take no shit, but his sign's fallen off.
Benjamin's brain in a jar says I do know about your granny, Paul, but mine was in the dark. Taurus Vectron point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says these owl voices are killing me. Thumbs up, heart, hands, grinning face with sweat face with tears of joy rolling on the floor, laughing smiling face with halo kissing face.
Dancing train.
Chalky Transport says why does the military wear uniforms? To minimize casualties. Chalky Transport says
dear.
stop red signal.
Oh, I got that bit sorted, mate. It's all good. No spads here. Its brakes were really good, I've got to say that. And you wanted tones, Lexic Dark. You got tones.
Rishi Rail says my granny is in a cardboard box.
That's fair. Mine was in an urn for a while, but we felt sorry for her and let her out.
Spat Tactics says is this the Zwola?
No, this is not
Maverick
the
says,
Zwola.
chat, we need to inundate Paul with bad jokes.
This is an OBB route. Feel free to dive into the bad jokes. That's what a casual stream's all about.
Nightbot says please smash the like button to promote the stream. Thanks.
Should I smash my own like button? I don't actually think I can. I should be going slow enough that it won't bite me here. Zifa.
Lord Vectron 4 says what train is this again?
This is the UBB.
Chalky Transport says you can press the like button.
Come on, red light.
Benjamin's brain in a jar says what is green and brown, has 6 legs, and if it fell out of a tree would probably kill you.
Speaking of bees, Richie.
Chalky Transport
Genuine
says if
Manchester
you smash
bee.
the like button you will have to get a new screen.
Chalky Transport says what do you call if a guy named Doug makes a U-turn? He becomes a guy named Dong.
Are we waiting for that? Oh, we're waiting for this one.
Richie Rail says why was the bee late for work? Because he missed the bus.
Mark B says is this a Jean Michael Jar concert?
Chalky Transport says oh Richie grinning squinting face.
Benjamin's brain in a jar says a snooker table.
We must have got here quicker despite the
Chalky Transport
false
says
start,
it is
because
green.
we're waiting for a train that's not due to go. Oh, there it goes.
Chalky Transport says on the map it is green.
No, it's not green. Definitely not. But I can probably start this thing moving, so we'll give it a bit more power.
Bagguy89 says hey Paul, did you hear about the guy who went to the doctor for a headache? The doctor examined his ear and found money. The doctor kept pulling and pulling it out until he had $1,999. Then the doctor
That's very sad, bad guy.
Bagguy89 said no wonder you were feeling too grand face with tears of joy.
Chalky Transport says
Sad
wrong
little
train.
face.
Richie Rail says how do dogs listen to music? Through their subwoofers.
Boomf, boomf,
Chocky
boomf,
Transport
boomf.
says I looked at the wrong train. Florian Ski Worman says what did Will Smith say to the cannibal? Get my wife out yo damn mouth. SBA Tactics says Hans Zimmer train.
Chalky Transport says what do you call a person who is happy on Mondays? Unemployed.
That's a good point. How are you going anyway, Spadtastics?
Rishi Rail says how do trains eat food? They chew chew.
Choo.
Badju89 says face with tears of joy. Chalky Transport says oh Richie these are getting worse but I love them.
Oh, they're definitely getting worse. Absolutely. Keep it up. We're just going to roll the last bit. I could get down the friend that I bring to a lot of my work meetings. Because, you know,
Chalky Transport says the stream
the
has turned into
octopus
who can make
of
the worst joke.
complexity.
Bad Guy 89 says today at the bank, an old lady asked me to check her balance. So I pushed her over.
Yeah,
Xenophates.
old joke. I made that joke at a scout camp with
Chocky
1,000 kids
Transport
once, and
says,
there were
what do you
1,000
call a
faces of
person
horror.
Who is happy on Mondays, unemployed. Taurus Vectron.1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says at Rishi that one is good.
Did I just get done by Sifa? Really? Or did it just slow
Chocky
down and stop me? I think it might have just slowed down and stopped me.
Octopus?
It's the octopus of complexity.
Rishi Rail says at Bagai 89 that was brilliant.
Yep, slippy time.
Chalky Transport says the water asked the sand if it could touch it. The sand said sure. Lexic Dark says I am confused that an octopus has tentacles.
Taurus Vectron.1212
That'd be Elmo's dream.
at Liam 17 Isle of Man says at everybody what route would you like to see? In Train Sim World.
Frankston line, of course.
Bagai 89 says at Rishirail thanks you smiling face with open mouth and smiling eyes.
Badju89 says yet it's probably not the greatest place to be telling that joke and a Boy Scouts meeting loudly crying face.
Ah, they told me to open with a joke, so I did.
Chalky Transport says C2C.
Maverick says to Demi Line, Taurus. Oh wait, it's already in development. Exploding head.
It's been in development for about 4 years. One day we might even see it.
Bagai 89 says I once submitted 10 puns to a joke competition. I really thought with that many, one was sure to be a winner. Sadly, no pun intended.
That's very sad. Sifa. I do like these signs on the OBB stations.
Rishi Rail says why can't Australians do handstands? Because they are already upside down.
Now, Richie, there's no up in space. We all know you're on the bottom of the planet.
Benjamin's brain in a jar says at least you didn't tell the Michael Jackson joke about what time is it when the big hand touches the little hand.
Be nice.
Rishi Rail says sorry Paul.
Oh, you aren't really going to make me do 10 meters. You are. Sigh.
Chalky Transport says the adjective for metal is metallic. But not so for iron, which is ironic.
How's this weather we're having then?
Chalky Transport says Rishi, remember that sleigh in Croydon? That was me.
Come on, train. You can do it. Lift yourself.
Spat Tactics says sorry at TSD, were these the 30 or greater than 30 quick starts?
Now go past
Chalky
the stoplight.
Transport says one of these services I sat at the end point for 5 minutes trying to line the point up so it would complete.
Platinum. That's all right. All right. Let's get into the next one. What do you think it'll be? Oh, yeah, we were going to look at those pictures, weren't we? Let me put that up here. And
Joep Wilmine says, what's you guys' favourite route?
Browser.
Richie Rail says an Australian walks into a bar, they said ouch.
And if I turn off TSW, there we go. So we have some screenshots.
Maverick says naughty Rishi.
You realise what's going to happen now, don't you?
Joep Wilmine says just discovered the Austrian routes myself. Started with the Vorarlberg and now doing Mittenwaldbahn.
So now if you're really clever, you'd see my email address then. I realise that is just as I click the button.
Absolutely loving it. Just missing Cypher and PZB in the old German locos.
Right, now we can look at the big pictures. That actually does look pretty good.
Enjoying the stream. Consider supporting the channel by joining https://www.youtube.com/train-simulator-driver/join.
Good to see them all different ways around. I guess this is one of the new carriages.
Chalky Transport says, did you hear about that guy who made a company that removes adverbs? It's taking off quickly.
There's the war bonnet, which is the better looking of
Benjamin's brain in a jar says long.
Nightbot says want to keep chatting outside of streams.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Join my Discord https://discord.gg/xxpunch5.
They do look pretty decent. I'll give them that. And there's smoke. Good to see smoke.
Badger89 says I gave my handyman a to-do list, but he only did jobs 1, 3, and 5. Turns out he only does odd jobs. Chalky Transport says hopefully it gives you some random layered service like an East Coastway rail tour or some freight on the Antelope Valley.
Trailer cars.
Nightbot says please smash the like button to promote the stream. Smiley face. Thanks.
Rishi Rail says, whoa, they look like freight trains.
They are freight trains. They're very
Spat
frightening.
Tactics says, is there a bug on the FCL Mastery Let's Nash?
Let's put that one back on.
Taurus Vectron.
1212
at Liam 17 Isle of Man says, nice to see.
Here we go again. What's it going to be? Better reset the rail driver before it loads. Gets confused if you don't do that.
Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says, I'm from Germany, Munich, but I really like US electrified routes.
That's all right. That's cool from being from Germany.
Chalky
and liking
Transport says Vladimir Nabokov. That was a name.
Which one is it though?
Says a priest, a rabbit,
is it the normal one or the scary one?
Bartender asks the rabbit, what would you like? Rabbit says, not sure. I'm only here because of autocorrect.
Right.
Chalky Transport says, here we G.
No, not that. I want the reverser.
Chalky Transport says,
find
oh
it.
no, THR 101. Taurus Vectron Point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says, my favorite locomotive.
RFB.
Chalky Transport says you are not getting very lucky here.
I think I'm getting lucky.
Badju89 says, alright, I really hope there's no French people in the chat because this is going to be a bad one. Face with tears of joy.
Why do you think it's going to be bad?
Badju89 says, what do you call
Now,
a
where are we
French man
going?
wearing sandals? Philippi follow.
We're going to Dresden. Fair enough.
Taurus Vectron Point 1212
Hang on,
at
we're
Liam
at Dresden.
17 Isle of Man says at Chalky
We're going to
WGY.
Dresden
Oh no.
Neustadt. We're going one platform. Okay. This is the upper platforms and this is the lower platforms. In one of the routes you get trains down here, and in this route you get trains up here. Fair enough. We have the IC coaches. It's a nice roof, this one. It's been pretty well modelled.
Baguy89 says, I told you it was going to be bad, smiling face with open mouth and tightly closed eyes.
Schließvorgang eingeleitet.
Chalky Transport says, why did the teddy bear say no to dessert? Because she was stuffed.
Chalky Transport says, so which route is this then?
Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says at Baguy 89 rolling on the floor laughing 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 rolling on the
don't
floor
do that,
laughing
Taurus
rolling on
Vectron.
the floor laughing rolling on 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 the floor laughing. Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says Dresden Reiser.
It's almost got a proper horn.
Taurus Vectron Point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says, I love this.
Chalky Transport says, oh no, there goes a 114. Chalky
we're still in
Transport
monitoring.
says that 114 had one Dusto.
It did, didn't it? It was a very short
Taurus
train.
Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says yes indeed. TH.
Taurus
proper horn,
Vectron
this
Point
one.
1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says, I'm sorry.
One
Taurus
Dosto and a cab car by the looks of it.
1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says eyes. Floriansky Werman says emotional damage.
Florian Scheuermann says, rolling on the floor laughing.
Yes.
Benjamin's
Don't
brain in a
overuse
jar
the
says it's
emojis. It
TTS
just
like
comes
that,
out
that
really badly.
unfortunately makes me want to mute the stream.
Kind of ruins the fun.
Maf Eric says sorry. Taurus Vectron Point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says, I'm so sorry dude. I didn't know that it could do that.
Yes, it's a bit creepy.
Chalky Transport says, what do you call a guy who's really loud? Mike.
I have to ask Flexic Dark and Lord Vectron Did you watch the Dutton commercial today from Juice Media? Because if you didn't, you really should. Oh.
Rishi Rail says I see you spamming at Maverick winking smiley. Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says at Chocky R creative winking face.
Come on, pump it up.
Chalky Transport says, is this a layered service or something that comes with this route?
That's an
Lord
excellent
Vectron
question.
4 says nah, not yet.
PZB got me. Come on.
Lexic Dark says
Release.
Speakerbot says, do not
Release.
use the emojis otherwise people will have flashbacks. Lexic Dark says I did. Dutton is a can't.
Benjamin's brain in a jar says, I have a joke, it's called TSW5. But seriously, really wish they'd do some serious bug fixing. Maf Eric says, have you tried the on-track simulation WCML South 2019 timetable mod, Paul?
Let me get the train going. I've looked at that mod, I haven't used it yet.
Florian Scheuermann says,
Come on.
Smengs Bremsung Zug bien Flussung.
Let's go.
Badju89 says, alright, this joke is for anybody who's married face savoring food.
Baguy 89 says my wife said I should do lunges to stay in shape. That would be a big step forward.
How can the person says new to the game, also on PS5? Are there ever any updates to gameplay on TSW? A few bugs here and there, no headlights on some, and the game gets stuck.
Also, I am on PS5.
They do get updates.
Are there ever any updates on gameplay on TSW?
Probably not as often
I
as
have a
you'd
few
like to
bugs here
be,
and
but they
there.
do get them.
No headlights on some and the gem gets stuck into two
Oh,
icons.
I forgot I'm in monitoring. I forgot I was in monitoring. I'm going to put that back to 40. Come on.
Taurus Vectron. 1212
There are some days that I hate PZB. Come on, bump it up.
Chalky Transport says, that's an excellent question, he says. So you don't know then?
When I say it's an excellent question, that usually means I don't know.
Florian Ski Werman says this is a layer.
Here we go.
Nightbot says, please smash the like button to promote the stream, smiley face, thanks.
This is where the ICE
Chalky
starts laughing at me.
Transport says, okay, where does this come from? Richie Rail says, I have, it's great at Maf Eric.
Yes, I completely forgot that I'd
Chalky
been beaten by
Transport says,
PZB
"Wow,
and was
this
in
route has
monitoring
added to
and
variety.
just sped up
There
over
goes a
45 and it went
146 now.
got you again.
Chalky Transport says penalty brake counter, 2.
3 if you include the
Benjamin's brain in a
safer.
jar says my wife went on holiday recently. My friend asked Jamaica. I said no, she went of her own according.
Badju89 says, I do that all the time, get caught by monitoring, I always forget.
Yes,
Lexic
it's a
Dark
common
says,
issue.
Florian, were you having premonitions?
Florian Scheuermann says, PZB whack.
Florian
Hey,
Ski Werman says it looks like it. Lexic smiling face with open mouth and cold sweat.
The ICE is going to get in, better than late than never.
Chalky Transport says penalty brake counter, 3.
I better be careful, I'll get another one coming into this platform this quick.
Maverick says I have many years less experience with PZB, and yet I have far less problems with it that you do, lol.
That's because you pay attention. PZB is easy. It's just acknowledge everything. Pole, stick, person, tree, signal, bush. Welcome to Dresden Neustadt.
Lexic Dark says Florian, flashback premonitions. O.
Chalky Transport says, do I restart the penalty brake counter on the next route or continue it? Maferic says continue it Chalky. Chalky Transport says, whoa, a black loco, what was that?
That was probably a 185 or a 101. Let's go find out. Can we? Get out of the way.
Florian Ski Werman says PZB clairvoyant. Chalky Transport says how many
quick,
penalty
whatever it is.
breaks did we get on the last service so I can add to the 3 from this one.
So 185.
Badger89 says, what do you call a fish wearing a bow tie? Sophisticated.
185. Lock the doors. Shutter down the train.
Schließvorgang eingeleitet.
There we go. No speeding at all. Platinum. Come on. I always click the wrong thing.
Chalky Transport says 185 nice.
I think TSW is not quite the right size. Let me fix that. That's better.
Chalky Transport says we had 2 on the last one right, so penalty brake counter, 5.
What are we going to get this time? What's it going to be? What can it be now? I won't do that again. A 66. Excellent. And what are we pulling? Cement. Ooh, which one are we
Chalky
in?
Direct says,
Direct
what
rail
was the
services.
size
I
of
don't
that
think I've
mouse
ever
I
had a
just
direct
saw?
rail services one. Oh, this is one that hates the rail driver, isn't it?
Maverick says 187.
Switches are all on. Forwards. Are the brakes?
Chalky Transport
Brakes
says oh
are
a shed.
cut out.
Chalky Transport says, unmilled me.
Brakes are cut in. It said they were cut out. Oh, fine.
Chalky Transport says this is the Rivet 66.
It's not a Rivet 66. They're all made by Dovetail. Have to wait for our signal to clear, which, if I remember correctly, takes about 300 hours. And we will get random wipers because rail driver. Come on. Come on. You know you want to. Let me have a 0. Let me have a 0.
Florian Ski Werman says I wonder if this route will ever work properly on console confused face.
The blurry textures, you mean?
Spad Tactics says you're in PAX break time.
I am in passenger
Lexidark
brakes,
says I
you're
will
right.
make speaker bot try to sing if you try singing again. Like Max HHH headroom as he stuttered at the most inopportune moment. Chalky Transport says maybe waiting for a 378 to cross.
Yeah, I think so.
Mark B
It's the
says
one
what is
going in
the
front of us.
optimum speed for the I.C.E approaching a station for the emergency brake to stop the train in the correct spot?
It depends how fast you're going and how big your train is, I guess.
Bagguy89 says how do you follow Will Smith in the snow? You follow the Fresh Prince.
I thought you were going someone else there, and I'm glad you didn't. Let's annoy the people in the office buildings.
Florian Scheuermann says yep. Still don't
Actually,
own
you know a
this
better
one,
way to annoy the people in the office
which
building?
is a shame because I know I will enjoy it. Love the other overground stuff.
We'll just leave it throbbing in their ears.
Maverick says the 378 won't arrive until Tuesday. Star Trek Generations joke.
This would be a good way to annoy office workers, wouldn't it?
Chalky Transport says ning 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 ning. Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says yes.
Badju89 says no, that would be a little too inappropriate, face with tears of joy.
Why are we waiting? We're probably waiting for you, would be my bet.
Chalky Transport says I'd love it if I was in that office.
I stayed in a hotel in the Midwest once, and it was nice and quiet until the locomotives pulled up next to the building and just sat there for the whole night. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah, it was good. Even the train guy didn't like it. What do you want?
Nothing, I just want to make a whoop 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 noise.
Yay, finally. Wipers are back. Every time they scan the rail driver, they'll come back on.
Nightbot says please smash the like button to promote the stream. Thanks.
Chalky Transport says noon turned them off.
No, they just left them running. Oh, you know what? I haven't turned on AWS, have I? That one. Bradley, little beast.
Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says is it true that the first class 66 has already been scrapped, guys?
I think only 166 has been scrapped.
Chalky
It was
Transport
accident
says
damaged.
not sure.
Map Eric
Some
says
others
love
have gone
the
to other
DRS livery
countries.
makes a nice change from red/maroon. Chalky Transport says probably one has from a crash or something.
Do you get the impression I'm not
Richie
meant to be
Rail
in
says
Nacho?
right then mate, I've gotta head back to work. Thank you for the bad jokes, peeps.
Enjoy your day at work, Richie.
Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says or just for spare parts.
Hello, Holy Trucker. We are just jumping around doing quick 30s, and we are currently, I think, on mild May.
Chalky Transport says by Richie. Map Eric says by Richie. Chalky Transport says speeding.
Holy Trucker says what route are we on tonight? Baguy 89 says given the type of work you do, Paul the First think this joke is perfect for you.
Badju89 says how does dry skin affect you at work? You don't have any elbow grease to put into it.
Oh.
Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says who knows waving hand face with diagonal mouth waving hand.
Bronco, hello to you.
Chalky Transport says there goes the 2D bridge. Florian Scheuermann says by Richie. Bronco in VA says these quickies routes are good.
The
Did an
2D
East
bridge.
Coast way last night. Good morning TSD.
The quickies are quite good. I have to admit I'd become a little bit jaded with the game and I just started doing
Chocky
quickies and I thought,
Transport
these are
says,
alright.
did you know King's Course is modelled in this route? I drove there using the out of bounds glitch, but there is a big box round it so you can't go into free cam or get out of the train. Chocky Transport says this is London Overground North London Line. No, I am not using Mr. Mayor's silly name.
It's good to send your apprentice off to buy some elbow
Lexic
grease
Dark
shortly
says
after
we
a long
sent
way
the
to the
apprentice
left-handed
off to buy
screwdriver.
some elbow grease. Chocky Transport says I sent their gauze the 2D bridge 3 minutes before it announced it to you.
No one said speakerbot's quick.
Taurus Vectron point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says at Chocky Transport, what's your favorite train, mate? Chocky Transport says 377. Lexic Dark says a box of assorted post holes.
Boss! We're following something, I think.
Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says very nice. At Chocky Transport. SBA Tactics says mild May is fun with the power swaps at Williston.
Wow, that's close.
Badju89 says LOL. Chocky Transport says you are following that 378 all the way in, I think.
Yeah, it seems that way, Chocky. Which means I need to average about 20 to 25. Or I'll catch up with it, since it stops everywhere.
Taurus Vectron point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says I'm going to drive a Metropolitan 101 now.
Fair enough. Enjoy that. The cool thing about the robot voice is I don't have to talk so much. That's a good thing.
Maf Eric says hopefully 87 on WCML Shap next, crossed fingers. Taurus Vectron point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says but still be here.
Chocky Transport says it's nice it gave you a LED service, not just a basic one. Like
I was having a
train
drink
that
and I
comes
saw the
with a
train and I
route.
thought, that train's pretty close. Yep, it was.
Chocky Transport says STO. Chocky Transport says stop.
Chocky Transport says red light.
Actually, it's
Bad
this.
Tactics says at Maf Eric, nah, come on 314 on the CCL. Chocky Transport says stop. Chocky Transport says penalty brake counter 6.
Train Simulator Driver says stop.
Maf Eric says no. Train Simulator Driver says, spad.
Okay, where's me train?
Nightbot says you know that light at Train Simulator Driver. It was red. A little bit. Well, a lot really. Maverick says skill issue.
It's a paying
Florian
attention issue.
Scheuerman says, spad.
Wow, look at
Florian
all the rail
Scheuerman
fans
says
everywhere.
red means stop.
Gunzos.
Chocky Transport says a scenario. Bad Guy 89 says singing in the shower is fun until you get soap in your mouth. Then it's a soap opera, lol.
Just hanging
Benjamin's
around, yeah.
brain in a jar says pro tip, don't drink and drive.
Chalky Transport says there is one railfan.
There's 3. Oop, train. Green. Damn ICEs, they're too fast to catch up with. It's time for another PZB festival.
Chalky Transport says both of the railfans are the same lady in the same clothes.
Safety systems down here? No? Oh, there. No? That makes sense if you're an Australian. SBS and ass. That makes total sense. Are they in here? No.
Chalky Transport says I did a stream for TSW but I drive 5 miles per hour. I used a 377 on speed set and I ate dinner and had a shower before I reached the first stop face with tears of joy.
Oh, I know where they are on this one. They're over here. Is it beyond?
Kenjitsuka says relaxo
beyond?
stream.
Safer
Now that
on?
sounds extremely cozy. Smiley face.
Well, I hope it's cozy. That's the general idea. We're just rolling away, aren't we? Headlights bright.
Nightbot says enjoying the stream. Consider supporting the channel by joining https://www.youtube.com/train-simulator-driver/join.
One of these. Is it that one?
Spat Tactics says at anyone, is there any services on the 5 that go to the stations on the OHLE section? Chalky Transport says I am going to eat some lunch, see you in 15.
There it is.
Nightbot says want to keep chatting outside of streams. Join my Discord https://discord.gg/zxacbngjh5. Nightbot says please smash the like button to promote the stream, smiley face, thanks. Maf Eric says to quote Bilbo Baggins, I am going now. Goodbye.
See you later, Maverick. You gonna power up train or what? What have I forgotten? Something, clearly. Does it know AFB's on now? No, still doesn't. No, AFB is not working. I thought I pushed the button. Do I have to push more than one button, maybe? Oh, it is that one.
Taurus Vectron point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says did you know there exists an actual train scrapyard in TSW 4/5?
There we go. I haven't seen a train scrapyard. I'm not sure AFB's actually on. Even though it said it was on. It's clearly not.
Kenjutsuka says here we go.
So apparently it's on now. Let's try it. Come on, you said you were on. Did I mention how much I like this train? Or not? Come on. You know you want to. I'm probably going to put AFP back to 0 as well, aren't I? Alright, let's try it again. So you heard it say AFB, but it's not actually showing up over here as being on. Which is just weird.
Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says bugs. DTG.
AFB off.
89 says yeah, the train scrapyard is Colonel Failure's computer cause he sent so many trains into space, lol. Holy Trucker says is reverser in forwards happened to me.
It does say AFB's on now, but it's not actually seeing the lever. Because it says 0. Throttle is 0, definitely. Why do you dislike me, train? I doubt it's that, because I can see line voltage.
Holy Trucker says it's not powering up closed circuit. Kenjutsuka says have a great one, yeah.
Hopefully, Kinjitsuka.
Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says at Baju 89 no, it's an actual train scrap yard. With scrapping machines and ripe appered trains.
Alright, we'll
Holy
just
Trucker
turn
says
AFB off.
handbrake.
No, it's not. The brakes aren't on.
Holy Trucker says parking brake.
Come on, you. You know you want to. I think I have monumentally busted this train.
Bronco in BA says PZB.
No, PZB is on, but it's not done anything because the brake's on. Oh, the brake pipe's not charged, is it?
Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says AFB of is less points.
There we
Crying
go.
face.
Now I know what it is. Now it'll work fine.
Spat Tactics says did you get Safa in time or did it smack you?
Holy Trucker says when it powers the wrong fills up with blue lights around it. Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says what about the brake key?
Interestingly, I still don't think AFB is actually on. It claimed to be on, but I don't think it is.
Holy Trucker says it's going.
Bagguy 89 says I can't say I knew that existed in TSW
No,
to be
it simply
honest.
doesn't. It's not going to go with AFB. Oh well, we'll do it by hand. Off we go. Apple, bananas. Yeah, I don't know why AFB's not
tell me
working.
how many spawn routes we have on the game now. I recently have decided to enjoy spawn.
How many S-Bahn routes? It's quite a few, and there's more coming.
1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says it does.
And now I need AFB to be on, because I don't think LZB will work without it, will it? We don't get to drive now, we just get to sit here. No, LZB is definitely not on.
Taurus Vectron point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says at Baju 89 German Spad.
Let's give one more try of getting AFB to work. Last try. You either work or you don't.
Nightbot says please smash the like button to promote the stream.
Because
Smiley
I need
face. Thanks.
AFB working so that LZB will work. And I think it's working now. Look, there's a little red dot. Yay, it's actually going to work this time. Come on, you. Get out of here. Move it, move it, move it. Come on. Come on. Oh, is that too much power for you? Yay, it's working. Yay.
Chalky Transport says have there been any penalty breaks since I left?
No, just me not getting AFB to work.
1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says holy trucker they are many.
Here we go, finally, with LZB and AFB on properly. Why was that so hard? Ziva. Going to Wurzburg.
Chalky Transport says that sounds about right.
Map Eric says I have unexpectedly returned.
Fair enough.
Holy Trucker says I dislike German stuff but just did Rainbow Austin in VR and it was great.
Ryan Rua Austin. Are you using the VR mod, are you? One from Fat Puppy or whatever his name is.
Chalky Transport says that bump in the middle carriage has always confused me.
It's an observation car. Now I don't have to drive at all. I'll just sit back and watch.
Taurus Vectron point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says holy trucker why do you dislike German stuff?
Probably because it bites you, Taurus.
Holy Trucker says yeah once you start you can't stop yeah I have 100 hours now in TSW5 in VR.
It is quite good. I've had a bit of a play with it.
Chalky Transport says, can you actually sit up there in game? And if yes, could you please?
I don't think you can, Jockey. But it's hard to get a lot of hours in VR because these things just don't last that long. Reminds me, actually, I need to charge it.
Taurus Vectron point 1212 at Liam 17 I love man says it bites you, what do you mean? Holy Trucker says I find German stuff boring, I love the UK and hate American freight routes also.
Chalky Transport says I really wanted to give you some really random service like the 33 on the southeastern route or the Vectron on the Dutch route.
We've been getting some pretty random stuff.
SBA Tactics says at TSD, I've been enjoying the Suffragette a lot recently. The 710 is a really nice drive. Chalky Transport says I meant can you sit in the observation car, is that what you meant or not? I have confused myself.
Yeah, I don't think you can sit up there. Let's make it
Chalky
normal.
Transport says Tree Sim World. Maf Eric says VR needs at least 20 more years of development before I'll try it.
Holy Trucker says the 710 is amazing to drive in VR. The tunnels are so cool in VR.
The VR injector mod for Unreal games works very well with Transcend World.
Chalky Transport says if it gives you a random German thing I won't even know.
Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says no.
Taurus Vectron point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says radioactive biohazard. Taurus Vectron point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says I am amazing.
See, I'm trying to get a link for you guys for the VR mod. Which, there you go.
Simulator Driver says https://github.com/creative/UEVR. Floriansky Werman says it's actually just a restaurant car. The bump just adds more lighting.
Holy Trucker says I've been riding on the trains in free roam after I finish my route to see where my trains go after I've finished.
They often go right out of this world.
Chalky Transport says I do know this route. This is where I do speed tests sometimes. Chalky Transport says penalty brake counter, 7.
Thanks, Jockey.
SBA Tactics says the 710 is my preferred train on the WCML as well, although I've been slowly trying more folder.
I wonder why it's not
Jockey
using full power.
Transport says my preferred train on the WCML has to be the 377.
It's weird that it's not using full power. Anyway, wait till we get the end of LZB and I mess that up. I always forget to do release.
Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says at Train Simulator Driver the link works as good as broken toilet.
That link should
Smiling
work.
face with open mouth and cold sweat face with tears of joy rolling on the floor laughing loudly crying face.
It's a bit cartoony, this route, isn't it? The only tree in the route, and we land in it. If you do have a VR helmet, it doesn't really matter which one it is, as long as Steam VR supports it. If you give Prey Dog Sing a try, it's actually really good. I would try it on a stream, but it's a bit like using head tracking on a stream. It's just a bad idea.
Homer Trucker says if anyone wants to know, hit me up.
Holy Trucker says I have a lot of hours in VR in TSW5. Nightbot says please smash the like button to promote the stream, smiley face, thanks.
Now we're getting some
Jockey
proper
Transport
speed.
says now that we got the novelty of making it say stupid things out of the way, this bot is actually really good. Jockey Transport says and hilarious.
It is funny to have it on the casual streams. I wouldn't do it on the normal ones, but on the casual streams it's fun to have the robot voices.
Amy says hello all.
Hello,
Having
Amy.
a chill morning here in Hampshire, England. First stream I've caught since the move.
Hope the move went smoothly.
Holy Trucker says Paul, have you stood on a platform and read the pies in VR yet? It's a cool experience, you can just reach up and just about touch it.
No, I can't say I have tried that actually. I should.
Jockey Transport says I tried spawning this train in on a service to check out that carriage, but it just spawned in the motor car and no carriages.
Yeah, you have to make a formation for it.
Bronco in VA says robot voice matters.
This is true.
Chocky Transport says hello. Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says hello Amy.
Isn't it interesting that it's telling me
Waving
off for
hand
going
sign,
quickly, but it's in
smiling face
charge?
with open mouth.
Jockey Transport says Tree Sim World.
Bronco in VA says hit notification bell, so you don't miss a thing.
Jockey Transport says the best bits are the jokes and the penalty break counter.
You only like the penalty break counter because you're doing it. I still love that it's telling me off for going too fast when it's driving. That's what the G means, if you're wondering.
Chocky Transport says no face with tears of joy.
Jockey Transport says that is funny, telling itself off for speeding.
It is. At least it's not giving me a penalty break for it. You too can be outside the tunnel. Typical
Holy
scenario,
Trucker
no
says I
passengers.
despise this route, makes you fall Alcy.
This was the reality of high distance rail, though. High speed, it's just like this.
Taurus Vectron point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says face with tears of joy telling itself up for speeding. Face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy, grinning face with sweat rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing.
No Zwang Breng song. It was just yelling at itself, it's alright.
Amy says Zwangsbremsung. Zwangsbremsung. Holy Trucker says Alexa play Baby Shark on loop.
I don't have Alexa, Holy Trucker. You can
Taurus
do
Vectron
it.
point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says I troll you Moai.
There you go, Chocky. 8.
Chocky Transport says yeah, it's just a high roof for lights. Chocky Transport says penalty brake counter, 8. Amy says hey Google, hey Siri, hey Cortana play annoying orange songs. Maverick says that railway you are stopped over is main Spessartbahn.
Is good. Is done. We're going to have lots of rail fans here in the tunnel, that's for sure.
Bronco in VA says is it true that Boston Sprinter is your favorite route?
It's my most driven, that's for sure.
Chalky Transport says yeah trespassing. Holy Trucker says I recently did rapid transit the other night and it's a good enjoyable route. I got bored of main Spessartbahn though.
Looking for the end signal.
Chocky Transport says my favorite route is either CECW or BML, but I like taking the London trains down BCC.
BML's pretty good. It's the busiest one in the game. And amazingly, it doesn't make consoles catch fire. Quiet, Zephyr. No one likes you.
Holy Trucker says all the UK stuff is great.
This often catches me because there's an end, and then there's often a signal you have to acknowledge right after it.
Maverick says WCML shap for me.
Chocky Transport says BML with the 700 is really nice.
Quiet, you.
Holy Trucker says I did BML with the class 700 timetable mod, it
See,
was awesome.
I acknowledged the end of LZB there. And I acknowledged...
Amy says it's almost like routes can be made to perform well or look good. I prefer the perform well option. Chocky Transport says all the UK stuff is great except the WCL 150, which hurts my ears, so I use the Pacer on it. Amy says got some USB issues there. Chocky Transport says penalty brake counter 9.
No, this one's not actually accepted as a
Holy
penalty
Trucker
break,
says Sucks
Chucky.
Dovetail made it so the ISAM BART can't be used in
Because
Scenario Creator.
the reason I say that
Chalky Transport says,
I
well,
see you
that
getting stuck
didn't
in a
go too
signal.
well.
is back up here, where the LZBN sign is, wherever it is. It's just back here somewhere. Somewhere
Spad
around here
Tactics
anyway.
says Suffragette is my
I
favorite,
did the end,
but the SCR stuff is really growing on me.
and I acknowledged this signal. So I should not have been stopped. And it's routed now anyway, so we're not going to bother.
Chalky Transport says okay, I'll let you off then. Penalty break counter, 8.
Yes, that was annoying. Because you get the LZB end and then straight
Holy
away there's a
Trucker
signal
says
you have to
Subway Sim
acknowledge.
2 this week, Paul, are you gonna get it?
It's this week. Really? Let's have a look.
Chalky Transport says that is Athena Simulations problem, not DTG probably.
Subway Sim 2. 29th of April. Indeed. I may get that. Looks interesting.
Amy says, holy trucker, don't scare my bank account.
It looks a lot better than the ZD simulator, the Ukrainian one. Because I don't know if you know, but don't play
Chalky
ZD Sim on
Transport
Steam.
says, imagine if it gives you Thomas N quick play.
That would be funny.
Holy trucker says it does look good.
Nightbit says enjoying the stream. Consider supporting the channel by joining https://www.youtube.com/train-simulator-driver/join.
Chalky Transport says, I think there should be quick play up to 30 minutes, quick play 30 minutes to an hour, and quick play 1 hour plus.
It's good that that just started to roll like that. That's pretty handy.
Chalky
Hey, stop.
Transport says, ooh, the Isle of Wight.
Nightbit says want to keep chatting outside of streams. Join my Discord https://discord.gg/zxacbngjh5. Nightbit says please smash the like button to promote the stream, smiley face, thanks. Chalky Transport says this is
Hello.
not something you would drive if
How
it
you
wasn't
doing?
for quick play.
I don't mind the Isle of Wight, actually. Have I done everything I need to do on this one? I'm not actually sure. EP brake is off. Why is that?
Chalky Transport says you are lucky you have an old train, there won't be any safety to slow you down. Face with tears of joy.
Let's see how we go. Are these interlocked? No, don't open the door. Open the
Maverick
window.
says, prefer Island Line 2022, love the 484, probably best rivet route. Bronco in VA says, I did Isle of Wight last Wednesday after Arsenal smashed Madrid, but you need to do 2022 version.
Chalky Transport says who made IOW, this version, and IOW 2022.
They're both made by Rivet, Chucky.
Chalky Transport says, are the IOW 2022 and this one different, to fit the era?
They are different, yes. The route's not much different.
Chalky Transport says stop.
Chalky Transport says reverser. Chalky Transport says it says set the reverser.
Yeah, it just doesn't believe me. It's because I used Rail Driver and it didn't see it.
Chalky Transport says so they have been modified to fit the era unlike the Diesel Legends. You have to praise them for doing that.
One door. Perfect. I have a faint suspicion that Rivet aren't doing any more routes. Because there's nothing on the roadmap, and they got rid of their forum, and they've got rid of their website. I kind of think they've gone back to being just a third party and doing dev work on contract. Go on, you lot. In you get. Hurry up.
Bronco in VA says I think you are right. Lord Vectron 4 says maybe they're working on something really big.
Bronco in VA says did DTG bin them?
Maverick says
Rivet
we
do
need the
dev work
Bernina Express
for
coaches
Train
though.
Sim World.
Chalky Transport says maybe they were tired of complaints.
I don't think they're tired of feedback or complaints. What they're tired of is abuse. You like going to school every day and having the same 10 kids just bust you up all the time.
Taurus Vectron.1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says then they oughtn't delete their website forum if they were building something really big. Lord Vectron 4.
Lord Vectron 4 says forums are a distraction, they're in focus mode. Bronco in VA says I feel the complaints were too much, 100%, we don't hear constructive complaints, it's constant absurd.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Constructive stuff's fine. I got absolutely no problem
Chalky
with constructive
Transport
stuff.
says well I went to open my tablets to have one and dropped the pot. Luckily I caught it so only about 20 went all over the floor rather than 90. Bronco in VA says I enjoyed Rivet's Scottish roots. Lord Vectron 4 says removal of TSW forums could also be at request of DTG to keep all of the feedback contained.
No, I don't think so, because Just Trains have got their own. And Union have got Weibo. If you really want to know what Union are doing, you'll have to join Weibo.
Taurus Vectron.1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says what?
But there's no train in the picture.
Chalky Transport says
Hi.
I like to review them by ignoring the developer. Everyone praises the overground route because it only had one developer, and I do get that, but some of the things going on are very bad.
Chalky Transport says ooh, a camera.
There's a patch on the way for overground.
Chalky
Yeah, off we go
Transport
again.
says, did you notice your seat has a different moquette on the back to the bottom and the passenger seats?
Out there? Yeah, it does. Ah, you twit. All right, we're going to finish this one. We're doing it.
Chalky Transport says penalty brake counter, 9.
Nah, that one wasn't a penalty brake. That one was crashing into the front of another train.
Nightbot says please smash the like button to promote the stream. Thanks.
Bronco in VA says the problem is the complaints just become noise at a point.
Chalky Transport says oh well then.
Loading, loading, loading. You're going to want me to put it in forward 1 again, aren't you? And you're going to make me do it with the mouse.
Chalky Transport says penalty brake counter, 8. Crashing into the front of another train counter, 1. No, I won't keep doing that.
Lord Vectron 4 says some on the DTG forums are straight up whack.
There are some very,
Bronco in VA
very
says rumour
sad
has
people
it,
on those
Nightbot is
forums. There's a lot of good
developing a new
people as well.
route.
There's a lot of people with genuine thoughts and feelings and good
Train
feedback.
Simulator Driver says, spad.
But there's also a lot that are...
Nightbot says you
just a
know that
little
light had
undesirable.
Train Simulator Driver. It was red. A little bit. Well, a lot really. Chalky Transport says, spad.
Spad Tactics says why would they, Rivet, want to first party anything when regardless of what they'd make they'll cop abuse like they're back in the high school playground.
Yeah, that's the question.
Chalky Transport says I found another tablet on the floor.
That reminds me, I've got to make a doctor's appointment. I've run out of one of mine.
1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says what you mean sad people.
There are people on the forums who are a little too grumpy for their own good, and it's gotten in here, so everything just pisses them off. And when you get that upset about something, doesn't matter how justified your upsetness is, you should walk away for a while. And they don't. They just sit there getting worse and worse and worse. Personally, if I was DTG, I'd throw them all out. But, you know, it's not my choice. Because they constantly exhibit poor conduct. They get told off over and over and over and over for poor conduct, and they're just allowed to stay. In my book, poor conduct, 1 warning,
Bronco in VA
second
says
time,
they need
you're
to
out.
touch grass. The forum complainers, that is.
Yes, have a little bit of a reality check and ground themselves. I tend to agree with that. I can get more than
Spad
one door in the
Tactics
platform
says
this
best
time.
idea is to put the controller down and step away and chill. Lord Vectron 4 says removing them empowers trolls.
I don't think it does really, because you're not removing them for their feedback, you're removing them for poor behaviour. Feedback's fine. You can say you hate something as much as you want. But there are ways of doing it that doesn't do damage to other people.
1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says, oh my das do sound nasty thsnks for explang.
I rarely go to the forums.
Chalky Transport says yeah, certainly give them a warning, but like you said, it gets to a certain number of warnings and you think why are they still here?
Yeah, really one warning should be what you get. Because it's like a child. If you say to a child, this is the last time I'm going to put up with this, and then you say that again, the kid knows, nah, I can do that anytime I want. I can do anything I want. No, you're not going to do anything to me. So when you tell someone that you're giving them a warning and next time they're going to do something they have to go, oh, it's a PIS. I just got pushed up here by a passenger, didn't I? Okay. You people going to get in the train? Or have you heard about my driving?
Chalky Transport says yeah, exactly.
I mean, I get them commenting on videos too. Most of those comments don't see the light of day. Because either YouTube kills them or I do.
Chalky Transport says that man is in the way.
Anybody willing to carry on a reasonable conversation, absolutely happy to. And we don't have to agree. It's fine. But people who are going to be unreasonable and abusive, they just go.
Bronco in VA says I prefer channel discords to be honest. I have joined this channels. I do not post but I feel the rail discords I have joined are okay.
Yeah, mostly they are. The Transsim community
Chalky
ones are okay.
Transport says I did my first proper 801 run of the ECML the other day, really just so I could chat to my chat, but it is a nice train.
There's one guy at the moment who's
Chalky
trying to
Transport
tell me
says
that
I saw on one
Raildriver
of your
was perfect
videos,
in TSW4.
people saying they couldn't
And it
do
wasn't.
something
Had the
because
exact
it
same
wasn't
problems as
working,
TSW5
so you
and
ask them
3
what,
and 2.
and they don't speak back.
It's never been proper.
Taurus Vectron point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says what do you think DC 4260 then?
Oh, our New Zealand friend. I actually know him.
Spad Tactics says at TSD, I hope my comment on the CL3 was okay.
Yes.
Bronco in VA says TSD, you taught me how to do the American freight routes, so definitely grateful.
They can be a lot of fun. Uphill, American freight's not
Chalky
really fun. You
Transport
just
says oh
set it
dear.
notch out and walk away. But
Chalky Transport says welp, we are back here again.
but downhill, they're a lot of fun.
SBA Tactics says I started getting a bit too heated over JT and BPB and that was my cue to step away, rolling on the floor laughing.
This is how we don't spad this time. Just
Lord
stay out here
Vectron
till
4
the
says
train
I
comes.
can't use the minimal in HUD in the 801, the vigilance is too quiet and there is no visual alert in cab.
Yes, the vigilance is very quiet in that one. You do know that you're like twins? What do you think, mate? Twins? Surely they're twins. Is the other one here yet?
Chalky Transport says wow, this train doesn't chuck you into a roof when you stand up.
I wonder why they're all milling around outside for. That's because I hadn't let them in. Some things you just have to do.
Chalky Transport says the problem with the driver's seat is that it gets collision NCE. You have driven the train, which limits where you can walk.
Taurus Vectron point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says so. WHST, do you think of DC 4260, if I may politely ask?
I actually know the guy. He's alright. He's making a career out of grumpy YouTube videos. He's actually quite a nice person if you talk to him in person. He's just going for the likes. Works.
Chalky Transport says, who is DC 4260?
Used to be called the train spotter from Taranga. And look, most of his feedback on TSW is actually right.
Taurus Vectron point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says, oh nice. Chalky Transport says, oh I know who he is now you said grumpy. Nightbot says, please smash the like button to promote the stream.
Oh, he's not Grumpy
Smiley
Englishman
face.
in my
Thanks.
Discord. That's a different person.
Chalky Transport says he rambles on a bit and then sticks a random minute long clip of some random train in there to pad out the video, which drives me insane.
Look, I can't say his style's my
Bronco
style.
VA says he does really decent and detailed videos.
No, he does. And he spends a lot of time
Chalky Transport
going through a
says,
route or a train and working out
Holy
his
Trucker
feelings
says
and
he
opinions
cries a
on it.
lot about New York Trent and watch his review of that route rolling on the floor laughing.
Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says the DC 4260 grumpiest and rightest DTG critic ever. I like him too.
Yeah, look, I don't think he actually is the grumpiest, to be honest.
Bronco in VA says, I don't always agree with his assessment. I am not a train expert, so many of complaints are not massive to me.
Yeah, I tend to take the attitude that if it's playable and it's fun, then it's decent. And if it
Holy
has
Trucker
issues
says
with
that
it,
his
but
New
it's
York
still
K
playable and
Trent
it's still
VID.
fun, then it's okay. I don't get hung up on
Holy
minute
Trucker
details
says,
of
watch.
things.
Chalky Transport says yeah, he has some decent feedback, but some of it is a bit exaggerated, and the minute-long clips of trains going past to pad out the watch time drive me insane, just because he mentions said train is.
Chalky Transport says, not a leader.
SBA Tactics says who's the YouTuber that does trains and trucks? Australian something.
Oh,
he is
him.
the grumpiest.
He's more than grumpy.
Holy Trucker says a US worldwide gamer face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy.
Spat
Yes.
Tactics says that's the one.
He wants to be an ambassador. I'm just surprised that with what he says, what he does, and then he says he wants to be an ambassador, it's like...
Chalky Transport says, I have not heard of him.
Don't bother.
Chalky Transport says and I plan to keep it that way.
I mean, if you want to go and have a look at his channel, go have a look at his channel, but, you know. Don't get dragged down the rabbit hole, that's all I'm saying. Is that enough? That is enough. Ice cream. Anybody want ice cream? It's cool that it takes two, but who was the other one for? I wish they had the steam railway in
Chocky
this.
Transport,
The transport
says no, I think I'll steer clear.
The Train Sim Classic version of Island Line has got the steam railway, and it's cool. I like running the Terriers and stuff on it. It's good fun. It's got a confusing signalling system on it, but it is fun. And apparently it actually is prototypical that it's got a confusing signalling system.
Chalky Transport says yeah.
I was playing with a little workshop route the other day. I don't think it's in a state that I would stream it because it's a bit wonky. But yeah, it's a bit of fun.
Chalky Transport says or at least a 4F that just sits there to look nice.
Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says I think if DC 4260 would be a great ambassador MSNY thinks would probably run better. Smiling face with open mouth and cold sweat face with tears of joy rolling on the floor laughing loudly crying face.
I don't think they would, to be honest.
Chalky Transport says Taurus Vectron you are good at spelling apparently.
So it as an ambassador, when I bring feedback in, I have to phrase it in a particular way so that it's useful. And basically you can't just say this is busted. What you have to say is this is broken in these circumstances, this is how I break it, here's the steps to reproduce how I broke it.
57 bloody New Zealand dollars for a root face with tears of joy face with tears of joy.
Yeah, well, New Zealand should get real money. Why do I get the impression
Bronco in VA says I enjoy Spur Rail 96, he is a Tottenham fan but his streams are decent.
I've just had an air
Chalky
brake failure.
Transport says and you told them that and they patched your own out of bounds glitch, not your finest moment.
Where's the button on these ones?
SBA Tactics says Rex Tactics would make a good ambassador.
Holy Trucker says he used to be called Train Spotter from Tornga.
He did, yes.
Bronco in VA says LOL, New Zealand and their powerless money. Chalky Transport says the first class 376 has just been wrapped in vinyls into the southeastern blue livery and it looks very nice, and never seen a train so bright and shiny. Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says Chalky Transport I'm literally driving a Expert 101 train while riding this. SN Expert 101 for good sake.
Why am I interlocked? What's going wrong with the train? These aren't any buttons I can press. I don't have doors open or
Chalky
anything silly, do I?
Transport says penalty brake counter. 9.
No, it wasn't a
Insert
penalty brake. This
question
one
mark.
doesn't have any kind of penalty brake system.
Chalky Transport says okay I'll let you off. SBA Tactics says all money is meaningless at Bronco.
Bronco in VA says facts.
I think it thought the doors were open. So the brakes are actually working. both air brakes and EP brakes. It's just isolated.
Taurus Vectron .1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says at Chalky Transport thank you very much LOL. Spad Tactics says is RD being temperamental?
No, it's not rail driver. It's something about the train.
Chalky Transport says just found 4 more tablets on the floor.
And no
Chalky
lights on, so
Transport
I
says
think I
why do
don't have
birds fly
power.
south in the winter? It's faster than walking.
But
Taurus
on
Vectron
its power track.
1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says me game just crashed on PS5 PRF.
Control supply off. What does that mean?
Chalky Transport says why do birds fly south in the winter? It's faster than walking.
Ah, I've got control supply back on again now. Does this mean I can drive now? Maybe?
Nightbot says enjoying the stream.
Yay!
Consider supporting the channel by joining https://www.youtube.com/train-simulator-driver/join.
I've still got brakes partially on.
Chalky Transport says a plane crashed in the jungle, and every single person died. Who survived? Married couples.
SBA Tactics says does train have power? Those lights aren't illuminated.
No, it does have power. They are all on.
Nightbot says
But
wants to keep
it
chatting
feels like it's
outside
got
of
air brakes
streams.
on for some reason.
Join my Discord https://discord.gg/zxpunch5.
Let's go see what's going on at the other end. That one actually should be an EP max
Taurus
because this is cut
Vectron
out.
1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says why do TSW4 crashes on Sony's best console?
Actually, because it uses too
Nightbot
much
says
memory.
please smash the like button to promote the stream. Thanks.
It doesn't like having these
SBA
doors
Tactics
open.
says is there an AI driver in trailing cab?
No, there's no one in the trailer
Chalky
cab.
Transport says faulty brake counter, 1.
Chalky Transport says what kind of math do birds love? Algebra.
There is some valve somewhere on them, but I can't find it. Because I know there is something that blows up occasionally and you have to fix it. And it's quite deliberate. But I cannot remember, for the life of me, what it is. Because it will actually move, it's just got... It's got brakes on. See how you've got brake cylinder pressure? And you shouldn't have.
Taurus Vectron .1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says at Chalky Transport that one is actually Guffy Guff you good.
Chalky Transport says how many ears does Captain Kirk have? 3. The left ear. the right ear, and the final frontier.
Chalky Transport says this is a passenger announcement, this train terminates here. Please walk to your destination.
SBA Tactics says at TSD, is there an air dump valve?
I think there is an air dump valve somewhere, because if I leave the Westinghouse handle in charge, which means it's constantly charging the brake pipe, we're able to drive. So yeah, there's something dumping the air somewhere. Because I reckon if I take that out of charge, it'll lose the air again. But that's okay, we'll get where we're going. But I do vaguely remember there's something that happens on these trains deliberately and you have to fix it. I can't remember what it is.
Chalky Transport says, did the rail driver take the deadman's handle off?
No. No, Deadman's fine. You can see the handles flat. Rail driver's not as silly as people make out. It's not good, but it's not complete shit either. Not going to be on time today, folks. 6 minutes late and we're not even there yet. We'll do some spirited running. We're only doing 47, don't worry. It's about as fast as these little trains go.
Lord Vectron 4 says decent considering it was made for MS Train Sim 25 years ago.
Yep, and mine's that old. I actually bought mine with MSTS in a bundle.
Chalky Transport says this is a single track line, so now everything is going to be late too.
Yeah, pretty much. See now, the pipe's going again, so I'm going to have to keep it in charge. As soon as I took it out of charge, the pressure
Lexidark
came
says,
off.
or is this dispirited running?
Chalky Transport says msmsmsmiv.
Smallbrook. And it's here where the other railway should be. But they should have a yard here.
Lord
And it
Vectron
doesn't
4
really
says,
go anywhere,
I bought
this
mine
thing.
around 2012. Taurus Vectron point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says, yes indeed. Indeed yes.
Oh, can't spawn something. Oh, we're in a scenario, aren't we? I was going to spawn a steam engine. Ticket. Isn't it the compressor just running constantly? There's definitely something wrong with it.
Spat Tactics says, at TSD, does this train have a door interlocking? Could that be the culprit?
It does.
Chalky Transport says, it is crazy that the majority of services it has given you are at night.
Well, this one wasn't at night when we started. We're just running really late. crossing neutral zones at the moment, which is why it's doing the bouncy bouncy.
Florian Ski Werman says I stepped away for a bit. Island Line original.
Yeah, and it's grumpy.
Bronco in VA says I believe they match the time frame of where you are. I did a quick route and it was 10 p.m. my time with 10 p.m. route.
I don't know, because this one's a scenario.
Chocky Transport says my wife keeps telling me to stop
But it is
pretending
possible
to
with
be
the quick
butter.
ones.
But I'm on a roll now. Ah.
Oh dear, you're on a roll now. You should put some twisties
Bronco
on
in
yourself.
VA says I could be totally wrong.
No, it's possible it works that way, but this one's a scenario, so this one
SVA
would be a
Tactics
fixed time.
says is there a switch like the TS has that stops the compressor hiss thingy?
The Bakerloo train has got a button that you
Nightbot
push.
says please smash the
and I
like button
think
to
this
promote
one
the
does
stream.
too, but I can't
Smiley
find it.
face. Thanks.
I always thought it was over there somewhere, but I can't see anything.
Taurus Vectron.1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says at Chocky. Chocky Transport says can February March, no but April May.
Chalky Transport says can you open the front door?
Yeah, you can.
Bronco in VA says I did fill out a tech support about my stats not carrying over from TSW4 to TSW5. I will probably have to live with it being that way.
You can find the save file if you still have TSW4 installed and copy it over into the TSW5 folders and it'll bring everything over. If we have to finish the end of this thing at 10 mile an hour, we're going to. Just saying.
Chalky Transport says whoosh, look at how fast we are going.
We're going up to 8.8 up to about 9.4 and then it cracks the sads and it slows down again.
Taurus Vectron .1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says Chalky Transport yes same with Castle Würzburg their freight services are all at night which is really shit. Yes quit.
Bronco in
Oh,
VA says
that's
on
reality
PS5.
though, Taurus, is you don't run freight during the day when you can help it. Everybody runs freight at night, well, except Americans, because Americans, the freight railways control the railroad, not the other way around.
Fierce PDW says hello.
Hello, Fierce. How are you? Oh, on PS5, Bronco. No, there's not a hell of a lot you can do about that because you're kind of locked out of the file system. The only thing you can really try and do is uninstall
Chocky Transport
TSW5
says
and
hi.
install it again and see if it picks it up the second time. It probably won't, because if it didn't pick it up the first time, it probably won't pick it up the second time.
Taurus Vectron .1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says yeah I know but here in Germany freight services run mostly daily in fact anyway.
Do they on Castle though?
Bronco
Because
in
I remember
VA
in
says
beta
that is
there was a
true.
lot of
We
discussion
did a
around the
ride from
timetable on
DC to
Castle
my
and it
town.
was thought
We
that
had
it was
to wait
fairly
until the
realistic.
freight train to pass. Fierce PDW says oh you got an AI voice to read chat, fancy.
Yeah, I only do it on the Relaxo streams, I don't do it on the other ones. I might use it when I'm driving trucks, I think, because I can't really read the chat when I'm driving a truck. But on the normal streams, no. And our train is very sad, but we're limping along. We'll get there.
Bronco in VA says it's not a massive deal, just the missus was crying that I had purchased routes with 0 miles driven, lol, grinning squinting face.
Yes.
Chalky Transport says so we can yell at him to stop the train.
Fierce PDW says, does it take anger hints? Why? Chalky Transport says you have no interior lights on.
Don't know. No, don't. Saw it on a button somewhere. This was the first train with guards mode, by the way. It just, the game didn't support it. They had all these grand plans. There we go. Sorry, folks. We'll get our busted-ass train home. Somehow. We've still got a red light anyway.
Chalky Transport says left. Lord Vectron 4 says I'm going to head off. Good stream.
Enjoy yourself, Lord Vectron.
Chalky Transport says, does guard mode work on it now?
No, it still doesn't.
Chalky Transport says red signal.
Not red anymore. Could probably get out and walk quicker than this, you know. We are doing nearly 10, 8.1. I can't hear the hissing anymore, actually. Oh, there it goes. Nah. Got to put it back in charge. It briefly worked for a moment then.
Holy Trucker says guard mode is fun in VR. Paul, I did Blackpool branches and WCML and Cardiff all in VR on different occasions.
That'd be cool. Chucky
Chalky
says it's turned into
Transport
his stream.
says this has turned into my stream.
You get busted trains too, huh? Got to get these folks home though. We'll get there.
Chalky Transport says faulty brake counter. One very long one.
There's been plenty of days on my railway where something's gone wrong and we do what we need to do to get the train back. Because no one likes to fail. So we'll do whatever's necessary. Ooh, we've
Chalky
almost
Transport
accelerated.
says if you are getting them home there is no need to go up the pier because that's just for tourists.
YouTube has turned 20 years old today. Correct.
Fierce PDW says, did you know YouTube tuned 20 today?
That's YouTube's birth pre-Google though.
Taurus Vectron point 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says yeah kinda both but the day services should have been included, only running at night is soddening.
dark in here.
Chalky Transport says zebra.
We're down to 9 mile an hour in the dark. Yeah, just so we can see something. Anything. We may eventually get there, you know.
Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says it's dark in here, it's dark there, my point.
Yeah, we're in a tunnel, Taurus. We're down to 6 miles an hour.
Chalky Transport says very dark.
Struggling with the hill.
Fierce PDW says Metro Bullet Train.
It is really struggling with this
Chalky
hill. I don't know if we're going to get
Transport
up
says,
it.
do you have lights on?
I meant to, but no, they're not working.
Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says getting the Falks home now, that's the spirit.
You can get up the hill. It's almost there.
Nightbot says please smash the like button to promote the stream. Thanks.
We still have to get it out to the pier because they might be catching the
minutes since you loaded it. SBA Tactics says will it make the grade out of the tunnel?
I don't know, it's down to 4 mile an hour now. It might not.
Fierce PDW says now I want to see what it says for all the emojis.
Don't do it, Fierce. What does it do for mine?
Train Simulator Driver says _cat. Chalky Transport says 50 minutes since the first try on this route started. It's a 30-minute max Ju 9 CK play. Chalky Transport says pause button. Train Simulator Driver says turtle.
Got up the hill.
Fierce PDW says Metro Police Car Light. Chalky Transport says no one under 18, no one under 18, cloud with lightning and rain.
Yep. We were meant to be finished quite a while ago, but, you know, it is now dark, so... We're going to the pier head, goddammit. On time. I think so. Mind you, maybe at a little railway, it's 15 minutes late's normal, you know. Could be. It is possible.
Fierce PDW says diamond shape with a dot inside.
Taurus Vectron .1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says I'm 19 so yeah. Chalky Transport says on time wow.
That's EP max, which is what it should be. Ah, there's the little valve there. I'm going to go and see if I can do that on mine at the other end. I think that might be it.
Spad Tactics says on time is a bit of a stretch but okay scenario haha. Chalky Transport says I had a random thought, the free train on SCR Roblox had an upguard, it looks much better.
Can't use the valve. But that's the valve. That's the thing you need to adjust. But there's no hotspot on it. Oh well. We're going to the pier, folks. We'll get there. Maybe.
Chalky Transport says this is a rivet train ...
Fierce PDW says so this is on time but my central line train this morning is delayed.
It's actually a deliberate failure, Chalky. And you meant to fix it with this lever, but I haven't got a hotspot on the lever. But we'll get out to the pier. So this was the first one that had guard mode. The first one that had random failures.
Chalky Transport says maybe don't use full power.
It won't move if I don't use full power. I'm already using the restricted one because I'm running in notch 1, not 2 on the reverser. Because in notch 2 it just blows the overload. But we're getting there. We don't have headlights either.
PDW says speed and power.
Chalky Transport says oh a deliberate failure, I didn't know TSW could do that.
Yeah. Rivet have done some really creative shit. There hasn't been anything with deliberate failures until the 101 expert. And that would be a lot of fun if it wasn't all in German. If it was localized. So I imagine for German players who are into trains seriously, the 101 would be a lot of fun. But for me, it's just frustrating because I have to take every message and translate it to go and figure out what to do.
Chalky Transport says maybe since this one is not a licensed thing since NSE went out years ago.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fierce PDW says next thing you know there are obstructions in the doors.
That'd be cool. There's people stuck in the doors sometimes. Our glorious TSW people.
Benjamin's brain in a jar says does the red 1938 class on PC have the same bug as on Xbox, whereby the power handle operates in the wrong direction and ends up sticking out of the cab window?
I don't think so. I don't think it does. Not that I've ever seen. We can spawn one and have a look. See, I just blew the power. Oh well, we got there.
Taurus Vectron.
There you go, folks. We're here. Get
12
off.
at Liam 17 Isle of
You'll
Man
have to get
says
out
they
now.
should change that.
All of you.
Then the 101
We're not going anywhere else. We'll end up in the
sadly
sea.
bugged
Come on. Especially you two, twinsies.
too. Holy Trucker says don't you think the new DBBR 430 does look quite sexy?
There you go. You can stay here in the dark if you want to.
Chalky Transport says some bugs are so bad they are funny.
Fierce PDW says if you have a bug just report it to Dovetail so they can get round to fixing it, as if they don't know it exists they can't fix it.
Yeah, and what's really important when you do report one is you report the problem,
Chalky Transport
why
says
you
they
think
are
it's a
triplets.
problem, and exact steps to reproduce it from starting the game. Really, really, really important. And include what you think it should do. Hopefully it doesn't want to drive me to drive that anywhere else. I still got a gold. Look at that.
Chalky Transport says or report the bug to the Ghostbusters.
Now let's spawn a
Taurus
1938
Vectron
and see.
.1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says they will not fix bugs.
They do fix bugs, Taurus. Absolutely, tens of thousands of them. The JIRA ticket numbers are huge, as they are in all software. And while they don't fix all bugs, they do fix plenty of bugs. All right, let's dump a
PDW
1938
says, how
on
did
this
you
one.
get gold?
Well, that's a good question.
Taurus Vectron. 1212 at Liam 17 Isle of Man says Chocky Transport. Yes.
I think there might already be a train reserving this. We might have to delete it.
Chocky Transport says I am heading off now. Thanks for the stream.
was gonna
Penalty
answer your
break
question.
counter.
Looks like I
8
can't.
faulty break counter. 1 really long 1. We played a game.
We did play a game indeed. I think something's reserved the track already. Does tend to happen on this route. But anyway, so I can't really spawn the 1938 one, but that's what I wanted to do. I think we might leave it there
Taurus
tonight
Vectron
anyway, because it's gone
12 at Liam
10:30.
17 Isle of Man says okay thanks FOT the motivation.
So I think we might leave that there for tonight. It's been a lot of fun with lots of things that I've broken because I'm good at that.
Nightbot says enjoying the stream. Consider supporting the channel by joining https://www.youtube.com/train-simulator-driver/join.
Yeah. The train is a little bit sad. That other game that I think it was Lord Vectron mentioned.
Chalky
Subway
Transport
Sim?
says it did the wrong voice.
That's it
We
is coming
played
out
the
the
game.
29th, so I'm tipping.
Fierce
It actually
PDW
looks pretty
says I
good,
reported
even though
this
it's an
to
Aerosoft
DCG,
game.
but does the 1938 also won't pick up power on WCML South? In my
Not much
case,
picks
it's
up
not
power at
touching the rail at
WCML
all.
South. It's a weird route. Anyway, have fun, folks, and we shall see you on
Lexic Dark
Sunday
says
for
trolling.
a
Nightbot says, lightly caress the
different
sub button
play,
because
and we'll
that
see
is
what
what
we're
all
doing.
good subs must do.
So have fun, folks, and we shall see you next time. And thanks, robots.
Nightbot says want to keep chatting outside of streams. Join my Discord https://discord.gg/xsigpunch5.
And outro.